Hello, everybody, and welcome to 38 Weeks to Go, your weekly podcast about fantasy football. I am your host, Nash, and let's get into it. How was Gameweek 9 for you? For me, it was tough, with a capital T. Haaland captain was a big letdown, and I used my wild card. Getting 45 points feels like I wasted my time. And then on top of that, Salah scores. Van de Ven scores. I swear, last week it was Mukiele Knights Van de Ven, and I removed Van de Ven. So I'm not doing well with my defense. And then Chelsea lose, Liverpool lose, Man City lose, Manchester United win? Make it make sense. The number one transfer this week was Salah to Saka. What does Saka do? Absolutely nothing. What does Salah do? He scores. Why? I'm one of those people who made that mistake. People still have joao Pedro. He did nothing. People expecting that clean sheet from Chelsea. Nothing. Some people like me brought in Reece James. 1 point. Just soon after I call Haaland captain obvious, he blanks. I guess that's what they call the commentator's curse. People gambled with Semenyo captain. Nope, the right person was El Krupi. A bunch of us brought in Voltemada. He does nothing. So it was a bit of a tough one, and the average of the week was 46. So, did you get 46? I got 45. Yeah, just below average. But thankfully there's next week. Thankfully. The highest scoring game of the week was Manchester United 4, Brighton 2. This was an unexpected result. I mean, I expected Man United to concede, which is why I brought in Welbeck, and I was rewarded for that decision. Maybe the only good decision I made this game week. But I expected them to concede more and Brighton to concede less, but then both teams are really poor in defending. Mbeumo looked good. He looked so dangerous. He's looking like a must-have. And now I'm over here thinking, should I move from Saka to Mbeumo and then use the balance to get Rice into my team so that I can still be exposed to Arsenal? That's how good Mbeumo was. Casemiro had a good assist and a random goal, which was a very kind deflection. So Mbeumo had 2 goals, Cunha had a goal, and Casemiro had a goal as well. Shaw, even Casemiro and Sesko had the assists. Sesko could have scored if he wasn't so wasteful. For Brighton, Welbeck scored a really good goal from a direct free kick. Kostulas scored the other goal for Brighton, which made it 3-2, and it looked like Man United were going to crack, but then it seems like they're on the mend, and that 3-2 goal was assisted by Milner. At the end of the game, Mbeumo had the 3 bonus points, Casemiro had 2, and Cunha had 1. So now it looks like Cunha is waking up, Mbeumo is already leading the way, and it seems like Bruno Fernandes is disappearing a little bit. The most disappointing game of the game week is definitely Chelsea 1, Sunderland 2. Some people may argue Brentford-Liverpool, but Brentford at least have been in the Premier League the season before, and Liverpool have been on a losing streak in the Premier League. So that one is a bit, I don't want to say expected, but not as unbelievable as Chelsea losing to Sunderland. The thing about Chelsea losing to Sunderland is that they didn't look like they were going to win that game. Roofs was immense, and Sunderland were just a better team. Chelsea at least managed to not get a red card in this game, and that was nice, but maybe the Gusto suspension changed things. I had brought in Neto, which was a good decision because he got like 8 points. But Sunderland are the real deal. In fact, all the promoted sides won. Leeds beat West Ham, Chelsea were beaten by Sunderland, and Burnley beat Wolves. And like I said, I don't think the Wolves manager is going to last. He just signed a new contract, so Wolves are just sticking themselves with more money. I don't know what they're going to do, but they need something else. He is not the answer. Anyway, Chelsea scored first through Garnacho. It was a very good counter-attack. It was very early, and if you were watching that game, you were quite hopeful that this was going to be a walkover. Little did we know, that was not going to be the case. Neto had the assist. Now, Isidore, who has been good so far, scored. There was a corner and just in that chaos. Let me tell you something I learned this weekend. Long balls are such a menace. If you see Liverpool, the goal they conceded, and there were I think 3 games where the long ball was so important. Anyway, Isidore scored from a goalmouth scramble. And then in the dying seconds of the game, Talbi scored. A good finish. His vision was blocked and he did the business. Brobbey and Traore had the assists for Sunderland. Neto got the 3 bonus points, which was a surprise to me, but I was happy because I had him. Talbi got 2 and Isidore got 1. Sunderland are the real deal. They're definitely not going down. And they're second on the table. Isn't that just wild? When it comes to the marquee game, it's hard to choose, but I went with Aston Villa versus Manchester City. This game was interesting. If you listened to the previous podcast, I told you that I had a feeling that Aston Villa were going to beat Manchester City. It just, I don't know, sometimes you wake up and your gut tells you something, and that's how I just felt. I honestly thought it would be 2-1 because I thought Haaland would score, which is why I still captained him, because I thought Aston Villa would win no matter what. I just thought Haaland would score as well. That wasn't the case. Matty Cash scored. He hasn't scored in a while. It was a good goal. Haaland had a chance or 2, but they weren't really strong. He didn't really take them well. They just didn't seem to be able to create anything. And it was just a bit of a boring game if you're a Manchester City fan. You're hoping for something. Semenyo was probably Manchester City's best and most creative player, but he wasn't able to influence this result. Villa, on the other hand, created many chances, but they were so wasteful. And so 1-0, I guess, is a fair result. Matty Cash, of course, he got the goal, like I said. Now, Buendia had the assist. When it comes to the bonus points, Matty Cash, of course, got the 3 bonus points. Pau Torres got 2. He saved the ball off the line, so that was good DEFCON for you. And Martinez had 1. And that's how the game ended, 1-0. And for the majority of us who had Haaland as captain, mighty 4 points. I hope none of you triple captained him. Now, let's look at the round points. Aston Villa's Martinez leads the goalkeepers with 8. Petrovic from Bournemouth also had 8. Raya had 6 along with Vicario. And then Roofs rounds up the top 5 with 4. Defenders are really king this season. Van de Ven, 23 points. Top performer of the week. Defenders, 6 out of game weeks. 6 out of 8 game weeks now. Or rather, 6 out of 9 game weeks now. Top performers. So he had 23 points. Matty Cash had 15. Rodon from Leeds had 13. Pedro Porro had 11. And Trufer from Bournemouth had 10. When it comes to midfield, Mbeumo had 15. Casemiro, 15. Eze, 11. Tavernier, 11. Ouattara, 11. Aronson, 11. Szoboszlai, 10. Bruno Guimaraes, 10. When it comes to strikers, Fleming, who I'm sure very few people had, 13 points. Foster, his strike partner, 7 points. Isidore, 7. Krupi Jr., 6. Welbeck, 6. Tran Larsen, 6. None of those strikers is above 6.5. And the lowest performer there is 4.6. I'm telling you, it seems like it's best to have your money in the midfield, have a bunch of defenders, and minimal strikers. So, let's look at some stats from the weekend. For the first time since 2020-21, all 3 newly promoted clubs won on the same game week. Well done. Now, this one is a bit of a meh stat, but it's Arsenal have gone 100 consecutive games in all competitions without conceding 3 goals in the game. 3. And it's just the second English league team to ever achieve this feat, along with Manchester United, who did it for 107 games. It's something. Ooh, this is an interesting start. In the Brighton game, I told you that Milner had the assist. He crossed the ball from a corner to Kostulas, and it was the first time in Premier League history that a player provided an assist for a player that was born after they had already made their Premier League debut. Are you understanding what I'm saying? I am saying that when Milner made his debut, Kostulas was not even born. That might not even happen again. That's quite a rare one. The gap between them in age is 21 years and 146 days. Liverpool are the first team in English top flight history to win their opening 5 matches and then lose the next 4. Talk about a slump. So, unfortunately for us in Africa, the clock will have gone back by the next game week. And a stat to commemorate that is that Erling Haaland is one of 2 Premier League players to have scored 15 goals in all competitions in a season twice before the clock goes back. He's done it, and in 22-23 and 25-26, and Alan Shearer did it in 92-93 and 95-96. Brentford have scored 8 Premier League goals from throw-ins since the start of last season. That's more than twice as many other side. And if you see the goal they scored against Liverpool, it brought you back to the Rory Delap days. Liverpool have now lost as many Premier League games this season as they did in the entirety of last season. They've lost 4 consecutive games for the first time since February 2021, while their previous 4 defeats came across a run of 47 matches. Liverpool are just the 4th reigning Premier League champions to lose 4 consecutive games. After Leicester did it in 2016-27, they lost 5. Liverpool themselves did this in 2020 to 2021, and Manchester City did this last season. The last time Milner had an assist against Manchester United, it was 14 years and 2 days ago, when Manchester City won 6-1. This guy has been in the league for too long. With Casemiro and Matheus Cunha scoring for Manchester United this game week, it's the first time 2 different Brazilians have scored for Manchester United in one game. Since the start of last season, Matheus Cunha has scored more goals from outside the box than any other player in the competition. He has 7. I feel like the long shot is a bit of a dead art or dying art. I feel like players used to score more from outside the box. Alejandro Garnacho is the 10th different player to score for Chelsea in the Premier League this season, with no side having more scorers than the Blues. When Iwobi took the pitch against Newcastle, he made his 300th Premier League appearance, and he is the first Nigerian to reach this milestone in the Premier League. The 5 most captained players this game week were Haaland 6.5 million, Salah 1.2 million, Joao Pedro 700,000, Semenyo 649,000, gyokeres 362,000. Out of those, only Salah gave her an attacking return. It's the first time that Salah has outscored Haaland since game week 2. 996,000 people brought in Voltemada and were disappointed with his returns. But they play West Ham next, and something good could happen. The most selected player this game week was Haaland. Most vice-captained was Semenyo. So Haaland was the most selected and most captained. Most vice-captained was Semenyo. The highest points this game week was 124. Mbeumo, as you can imagine, is the most brought-in player this week with 450,000 bringing him in. Mateta is second with 215,000. Igor Thiago, who is the 3rd top scorer after Haaland and somebody else, has 149,000 people bring him in. Voltemada 132,000. Welbeck 112,000. People dropped Joao Pedro 389,000. Salah 133,000. Reinders 132,000. Kudus 87,000. Isak 83,000. And Van de Ven is this week's top scorer. 6 out of 9 times it's been a defender. We just need to figure out who this defender is and stick to him. The problem is it keeps rotating. 124 is the highest points this week, and Body VIP is the team name. And they triple captained Mbeumo, who gave him 45 points. In goal, he had Vicario, who had 6, Gay, 4, Gabriel, 9, Van de Ven, 23. Also, why was Gabriel denied that assist? I really need those 3 points to get above the average. Anyway, Tavernier, 11. Every time I bring Tavernier into my team, he does nothing. Soboslai, 10. Rice, 7. Ekitike, 2. Thiago, 5. Haaland, 2. And that's how he got 124. In our group, points were a bit tough this week, and the highest got 76. So, in a way, I feel like, okay, 76 was the highest. I got 45. I wasn't too bad, but I wasn't great either. So, Joel Andebe, manager of Andebe FC, got 76 points. And this is how he did it. In goal, he had Petrovic, who got 8 points. Gay gave him 4. Van de Ven, 23 points. Chaluba, 1. Mbeumo, 15. Saka, 3. Eze, 11. Semenyo, 3. Gyokeres, 2. Captain Haaland, 4. Joao Pedro, 2. Well done. In second place, we have PG Ongeri, who got 73 points, along with Mark Lukwago and Prabin GC. And number 5 is another two-way tie between Patrick Phillip and Fahmi Zulkifly, who got 70 points each. The most transfers made this week belong to Mike Mbogwa, who made 11, then followed by Kaiser Sose Buona G, who made 7. Number 3 belongs to Okoth Alphonse, who made 6 transfers, and Victor Nyabola made 5. Teddy Mwalo, John Bogwa, David Bogwa, Smacha Cham, and Alvin O all made 4 transfers this week. The highest change in team value belongs to Mark Mutegi, who added 0.6 to their squad value. Well done. Mr. Andebe has increased his global ranking by 1.7 million positions. Well done to you. In our league, Mr. Andebe, manager of Andebe FC, has jumped 39 positions this week. Well done. Highest team value belongs to Simnanijua. Yang Muller Bebe, 103.3. That's a high value. When it comes to not so great stats, Derek Mwangi has seen his team value drop by 0.9. That's tough. James Durango has dropped the most in the global positions. He's dropped by 1.4 million positions. When it comes to most points on the bench, El Fleek has 36 points on the bench. I'm sure Van de Ven is 23 of those. I got 45 and he has 36 points on the bench. That's painful. So let's see. El Fleek, who do you have on the bench? Van de Ven, of course. Isidore, Gehi, 4. And Dubravka, do you know why I'm laughing? He has 36 points on the bench and 39 points on the pitch. Nothing hurts like that. Nothing. I'm sure he was praying that everybody would get injured. Polisana. El Fleek, that's painful. Arnoldinho Arnold had 33 points on the bench. Team Kubwa, Moses Chege, and Joe Mbogwa and Sachi Vini round up the top 5 with 31 points on the bench each. When it comes to streak of red arrows, Gen Z architect Mr. Sadiq Suleiman has been seeing his team drop for 7 weeks in a row. He is tied with Dejan Savesky, Mjao. That's his team name. For 7 weeks in a row, they've been underperforming. Let's just say that. And now when it comes to the least points this week, that honor or dishonor goes to James Durango, manager of Lucille Fur. I don't like the name. But 24 points. Donnarumma, 2. Vardiol, 2. Timber, 6. Rhys James, 1. Kadioglu, -1. Gordon, 2. Semenyo, 3. Grealish, 1. Voltimada, 2. Gyokeres, 2. Haaland captain, 4. A good team, just horrible results. So he got 24. On the bench, he had 18 points because he had Mati Cash. Polisana, that's painful. When it comes to the rest, Mark Moura and Christy Cadivilis were tied at second from bottom in terms of points with 25 points. Number 3, Lawrence Agyapong, 29 points, along with Stan Midea, 29 points. And those are the bottom 5 in terms of point getters this game week. When it comes to lowest team value, Tatiana Mislenovic is literally going for broke. His team is worth 98.2. That's a tough one. And James Durango, who got 24 points, has dropped 32 points in our league. Paul Lesana. When it comes to better news, Fesco FC and Teddy Mwalo have seen green arrows for 7 weeks in a row now. Oh, well done, boys. Keep it up. When it comes to the team with the most goal scorers, it is Fahmi Zuklifly. Hey, this name always beats me. Fahmi Zuklifly, Pragbin, JC, Joe Mbogwa, Arnoldinho Arnold. Their team, 6 goals, 6 different goal scorers. When it comes to best transfer outcome, Escobar's season has gained an impressive 28 points through their decision making. Well done to you, sir. You made the right call. Now, when it comes to captain choices, this week was quite unique. Because, 137 of us believed in Haaland, which makes sense. He's been consistent. And then from there, the drop-off is ridiculous. 17 people captained Semenyo. And then 11 people captained Salah. Joao Pedro, 6. Saka, 5. Gyokeres, 4. Voltemade, 2. Wood, 2. Palmer, 2. Then Kudus, Hudson-Odoi, Bruno, Grealish, Gakpo, Virgil van Dijk, Raul, Neto, and Watkins were all captained by one manager. So Salah is really falling out of favor with our group. That's something new. When it comes to our league table, we have a new number 1. And our manager at the top is Jeffrey Jeremy, the man behind the mask. He has 602 points. He got 67 points this week. Madangani Kihoro dropped to number 2. He beat me by 3. He has 586 points and 48 points. Patrick Phillip, Fesco FC, got 573 points. Fama Champez has got 572 points. Ron Chisaka, 568 points. Leon Mortier, 567. Alan Muchangi, 567. Kojo Danso, 559. Makmutegi, 551. And number 10, Usif Umar, 550. The gap of 100 points between number 1, who has 602, to 502 is 61. And that is Architect Sadiq Suleiman, who has 7 game weeks in a row of doing bad. That is where 100 points between you and number 1 is. So if you're between number 1 and 61 in our group, don't worry. A great game week can change everything. At the bottom of our table, Don Clinton is hanging on with 237 points. Victor Nyabola is second from bottom with 333 points. Eddie Olang, third from bottom, 357 points. Guan Kimko, 358 points. And Murungai Manyara, 359 points. That is our bottom 5. So number 1 has 602, our bottom has 237. Goodness, that is quite a gap. So, for the first time in a while, the midweek will be free. The players can rest. Maybe it will help their performances. Maybe players will come back. Maybe they'll pick up form. Maybe more training will help. Goodness, it's been a tough few weeks for some teams. Saturday, we'll see Brighton take on Leeds. Brighton were hammered by Manchester United last time out, so I don't know. And Leeds had a great victory. So what does this mean for us? Well, I'm still believing in Welbeck. He scored and that's all I can ask for. So definitely, when I look at the head-to-head, it's a bit old and outdated, so I'm not going to really look at it. But in case you're interested, it's mainly 3 draws and then 2 wins for Brighton. But the teams and managers have changed so much since that I'm not sure it's relevant. Now, Brighton, Brighton can't score, they just can't defend. So it's a matter of, will they outscore Leeds? I thought they'd beat Man United because they would outscore them. But they were unable to do that. But then Manchester United is a better team than Leeds, so maybe they'll be able to outscore Leeds. And if you believe that, Welbeck, Minte, and maybe Ayari are interesting players to look at. But probably instead of Ayari, look at Mitoma. On the Leeds side, however, their defenders tend to score. So if you have like a Goodmanson, a Rodon, that wouldn't be bad. And then up top, just gamble with, is it Aronson and maybe Okafor, if he's fit. Every time, I'm never sure of this guy's availability. He's always fit and always injured at the same time. So it looks like he got injured in the last game. Maybe he'll be back. Maybe he won't. We'll see. But if not him, you can gamble with Longstaff. He tends to have a random goal or an assist. Burnley take on Arsenal. And Arsenal are on a great run of clean sheets. And at this point, I'm even thinking, can I have 3 Arsenal defenders? That doesn't sound like a bad idea. So, well, and like I'd said in the previous podcast, it's very tricky to be with Saliba this time round. So, Gabriel, Calafiori, Timber. Those are the ones. Going up top, I think Rice is the best player moving forward, followed by Saka. So if you have a defender and Rice, I think you'll be fine. Saka is not yet there yet. I have him in my team and I regret not having Mbeumo and Rice. I would have killed it. So don't be like me. Just have Rice and Mbeumo. Burnley, like Arsenal, were victorious over the previous game week. That game angered me a lot because the last time I looked at the score, it was 2-0 and I was like, yes, I just brought in Dubravka and he's going to keep a clean sheet. Next thing I know, I'm seeing Dubravka has won and I'm wondering what's happened. And I'm seeing it's 3-2 and I'm like, what a bad decision. I should have brought in Petrovic because I was thinking between him and Petrovic because I had 0.5 on the bench and I was like, I don't trust Bournemouth defense either. Little did I know. Burnley beat Wolves 3-2 with Fleming scoring 2 goals and Foster scoring 1. So now Fleming is now somebody new to think about. Foster, we have known who he is. And now maybe I wouldn't encourage you to get 2 strikers. But if you have space for a budget guy, Fleming or El Kroupi from Bournemouth are not bad ideas. So Fleming or Foster, and then maybe I really don't want to recommend Anthony, so I'll go for Cullen. Crystal Palace versus Brentford. Now, Palace lost a tough game to Arsenal. Brentford beat a tough team in Liverpool. What does this mean? That maybe these teams are more evenly matched than we give them credit for. Now, when we look at the recent history, Brentford has won 2, lost 1, and drawn 2. So, from that perspective, Brentford have the upper hand. Now, the one thing to note also is that in their last 6 fixtures, their last 6 fixtures, they have not had a clean sheet. So, this is not a game for clean sheets. And the most popular scoreline in this game is 1-1 and then 2-1. So 3 results have been 1-1, 2 have been 2-1, and then 3-1. Now, Brentford seem to have Crystal Palace's number. And remember how I spoke about Man City last week? This kind of is giving me that kind of vibe. I think it's Brentford. I really want Crystal Palace to win because I brought Mateta and Munoz, but it's just looking like it might be Brentford again. Now, if you believe that, Igor Thiago is the main man to have, and then Shada and Damsgaard. There's no clean sheet in this game, so don't bother with the clean sheet. Those are the 3. From Crystal Palace's end, if you believe that they will score, Mateta, Sarr, and Munoz will be involved in one way or another. Fulham versus Wolves. Fulham got beat at the death by Newcastle last time out, and Wolves similarly were beaten by Burnley. Now, honestly, at this point, I'm believing strongly that Wolves are the whipping boys this season. It seems like they can't score, but I don't think they have enough to stay up this season. Now, Fulham have won 2, lost 2, and drawn 1. So, historically, they're even, but on current form, I have to give it to Fulham. Wolves, should they do anything in this game, it'll be through Strand Larsen and Munetsi and maybe the Korean guy, Hwang. Now for Fulham, I've told you guys. Okay, now the thing about Fulham, let me be honest, they're on a 4-game losing streak. So they're also not in great form, but this is the kind of game where they can pick themselves up from. Now, should you believe that this is possible, the people to have will be Iwobi, Jimenez, and maybe Emil Smith-Rowe. Those are the 3 I would recommend. Nottingham Forest versus Manchester United. And at this point, after Wolves, Forest are not looking good. They lost to Bournemouth. They looked good in Europe. Sean Dyche maybe needs more time. But honestly, they should never have let Nuno go. I'm sure he's regretting it every day. But his pride, Marianakis, it's not going to let him do anything. Anyway, Forest versus Manchester United. Now, the recent history doesn't matter because their managers have changed. But Forest won the last 2, but that was under Nuno. Now under Sean Dyche, they're a different team. So what does that mean? Mbeumo, Cunha, and Ahmad. Those are the 3. Man United can't defend. They won't keep a clean sheet. So that's what you should do with Manchester United. Mbeumo, Cunha, and Ahmad. Now, on the other end, where you have Forest. Now, first of all, don't get a first player. That's my position I've been maintaining for a few game weeks now. Don't get a first player. But should you need to or must you get a player? I guess you could go with Morgan Gibbs-White. If you believe Jesus will score, and maybe Hudson-Odoi. But honestly, don't get into Forest at this point. They're not good right now. And Man United should be able to get that game over the line. Tottenham versus Chelsea. I don't know if there are 2 sides that are more unpredictable in the Premier League at this point in time. If you tell me Chelsea will win 3-0, I'll believe it. If you tell me Tottenham will win 3-0 again for 2 games in a row, I'll believe it. If you tell me this game will be a 0-0 draw, I'll believe it. Both of these sides are unreasonably unpredictable. Chelsea have a bit of a squad issue. Their depth is bad. So let me look at their team. Badiashile out, Palmer out, Esugo out, Colwell out, Delap out, Gusto out. 4. Spurs. Dragusin out, Bissouma out, Takai out, Maddison out, Solanke out, Udoji out, Kulusevski out, Romero out, Davies out. Now, when it comes to their recent head-to-head, Chelsea have won their last 3 encounters, actually their last 4 encounters, and Tottenham won the 5th one. So 4 to Chelsea, 1 to Spurs. But to me that means absolutely nothing because those are different teams, different managers, different players. Now, if you believe that Chelsea are going to do something, unfortunately, you still have to believe in Reece James. I would say Pedro Neto and Enzo Fernandez. If you're a Spurs guy, if you saw Van de Ven, the last one, why not Van de Ven? Van de Ven will be number 1, 23 points. I'm not going to deny that or ignore it. Who ignores 23 points? Have him. And then maybe Kudus and Pedro Porro. That's it, yeah. And if you want to gamble, you can try Richarlison. Liverpool versus Aston Villa. Liverpool lost to Brentford and Aston Villa beat Manchester City. So if that form is to continue, Liverpool should be beaten and Aston Villa should continue with their recently good form. Now, when I look at their head-to-head, the head-to-head tells me that Aston Villa have no chance of beating Liverpool. No chance. They have not won in at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, in at least 6 encounters. 7, 8, 9, 10. The last time Aston Villa beat Liverpool, it was it was 11 matches ago, and that was in 2020. And they beat them handily, 7-2. Now, we're 5 years away from that fixture, and I don't believe such a thing will happen. But I do believe, based on form, that Aston Villa are slight favourites, even though their recent history tells us otherwise. So now you have a choice. Are you going to believe recent history or form? If you believe history, definitely go with Liverpool. If you believe in recent form, go with Aston Villa. Now, should you believe in Liverpool, I think you really have Ekitike, Gakpo, and your choice of Salah or Szoboszlai. Now, on the Aston Villa end, you really have Watkins, Rodgers, and I think that's it. Unless you want to bring in Matty Cash, why not? And Matty Cash. Buendia and Tielemans are unavailable. Isak, Alisson, Leone, Frimpong, Gravenberch, and Bajetic are unavailable for Liverpool. So, if you believe Liverpool are going to course correct, this is the match that they could do it in, but I don't think this is a match they will do it in. I'm leaning towards Aston Villa. I think it'll be a draw or a win for Villa. West Ham versus Newcastle. Nuno Espirito Santo's team, I don't know what he needs to do. Just like I said last time, I don't believe in them. And even if Newcastle are away and tend to underperform away from home, I believe they're favourites in this game. And I believe that they will win. Now, recent history favours Newcastle also. Newcastle have won 3 out of the 5, losing 1 and drawing 1. However, I strongly believe in Newcastle this time round, and I believe that they will win. Jacob Murphy, Voltemada, and your defensive player, be it Pope or Dan Burn or Shah, whoever is your guy, that defensive player, that is a guy you should have as your third option. Now, Hall, Livramento, and Wissa are unavailable for Newcastle, while Earthy, Mavropanos, Fulkrug, and Skulls are unavailable for West Ham. West Ham lost to Leeds last time out, and they'll be looking to do better. I believe Bowen, Diouf, and Paqueta are the best options from West Ham right now. And for Newcastle, as I said, Voltemada, Jacob Murphy, and one of your defenders. Unless you want to sneak in a Bruno Guimaraes in there, or Tonali. It's always one of those two. Manchester City versus Bournemouth. An encounter that will see Haaland versus Semenyo. Now, I am back on the Manchester City train. I believe in them. Now, Manchester City have a good recent record against Bournemouth. They have won 1, 2, 3, 4 out of their most recent 5 games. And I just believe in Haaland. Mamouche is back, so he might add something different to the game. But honestly, Haaland is my number 1 from Man City, as he is for everyone else. And then you can... Who would you go for next? With this Pep roulette, you never know who's going to play. But let's go. Let's go with Doku. I think he's going to try to play a stronger team. And then Silva. Those 3. There's one clean sheet in their last 6 encounters. So I believe both teams will concede. If you're getting a Bournemouth player, they were impressive last time out. El Krupi, Semenyo, Tavernier are the 3 I would recommend. I wouldn't really go into the defense, which is why I didn't have Petrovic like I had wanted to have before. I believe they'll both concede. But Krupi, Semenyo, Tavernier are the 3 best from Bournemouth right now. Kusanov and Rodri are out for Manchester City, whilst Unal and Evan Nilsson are unavailable for Bournemouth. I give City the edge in this one. The final game of the game week will be played next week on Monday, and it will see surprise package Sunderland take on Everton. Sunderland got a huge scalp to their name when they defeated Chelsea, and not only that, they looked like the better team. Everton were just beaten. They had chances, but Vicario was good. And Beto is super wasteful. I thought he would be better, but he's He's just not better than I thought he was. Now, if that trend continues, Sunderland could cause another upset by defeating Sunderland. And Isidore will be a part of that. I think their keeper Roofs is an I don't even know what the word is, understated, undervalued, under-talked about player. He has been really good. So, I am going to recommend Isidore, Roofs, and let's see, who and Xhaka. Xhaka is their best player so far this season. From Everton, Grealish, Ndiaye. Yeah, that's it. Those are their two best players. Iliman Ndiaye and Jack Grealish. When looking at captaincy for this week, let's see, Brighton Leeds. Do you see an easy captain here? I'll suggest Welbeck. He's a good one. Arsenal Burnley. We need to start captaining Gabriel at this point. He's getting 3 bonus points and he's keeping clean sheets. Hey, I could have gotten 18 points if he was my captain. Let's see. Yes, literally. He's my preferred captain in the Arsenal-Burnley game. Crystal Palace versus Brentford. Mateta or Munoz. And then Igor Thiago. He has been great. And yeah, that's it. Fulham Wolves. I wouldn't choose a captain in that game. Forest Man United, Mbeumo. It's time for Mbeumo. I'm trying to see if I'll manage to get to this weekend without bringing Mbeumo into my team. Spurs versus Chelsea. Pedro Neto. I can see that from Chelsea. Spurs. I can't see anything yet there. Liverpool versus Aston Villa. Honestly, you can convince me on Gakpo. You can convince me on Salah and Ekitike. On Aston Villa's end, you can convince me on Watkins or Morgan Rogers. But I wouldn't choose a captain from this game. West Ham versus Newcastle. Murphy of Voltemada. Man City versus Bournemouth. Haaland, El Krupi, Semenyo. Sunderland versus Everton. Isidore. Now, there's no easy fixture, so it's hard to rank these captains, but those are my favorite captains. Now, looking at number 1 in the world. Number 1 in the world is somebody called C. McQuaid. They have 691 points. I'm just going to tell you who their starting lineup is. Just such in case you're thinking of changing your team, in case you're not doing well and you're wondering what is the top in the world doing. He has Raya in goal, Gabriel, Van de Ven, Dan Burn, Munoz, Bruno Guimaraes, Semenyo, Kudus, Eze, Haaland, and Joao Pedro. I hope he gets off Joao Pedro because that one is a dud. Now let's look at the FPL FDR. Arsenal are taking on Burnley, Sunderland, Tottenham, Chelsea, and Brentford. And given the inconsistencies of Tottenham and Chelsea, they could win the next 4 without much discomfort. This is the right time to be getting into Arsenal players. Aston Villa play Liverpool, then they have Bournemouth, Leeds, Wolves, and Brighton. After the Liverpool game, I think it'll be time to get more Villa assets. Bournemouth take on Man City, Villa, then they have West Ham, Sunderland, and Everton. So it will, after the Villa game, it will be great to have Bournemouth players. Brentford have Crystal Palace, Newcastle, Brighton, Burnley, Arsenal. And up until the Arsenal game, this is the right time to have Brentford players. You have yourself Igor Thiago, or a Damsgaard. Brighton have Leeds, Crystal Palace, Brentford, Forest, and Villa. These are generally all winnable games for Brighton. It's a good spell to have a Brighton player if his name is Danny Welbeck. Burnley have Arsenal, West Ham, Chelsea, Brentford, and Crystal Palace. Honestly, these promoted sides, anything can happen with them. You know they're going to be competitive. So if you believe in them, get yourself one of their players. Chelsea have Spurs, Wolves, Burnley, Arsenal, and Leeds. Honestly, this is the right time to have Chelsea players. Now I'm understanding my logic. Although it was poor because Sunderland beat us. But on paper, these are outside the Arsenal game, these are winnable games. This is a nice spell for many teams. Crystal Palace have Brentford, Brighton, Wolves, Man United, and Burnley. Again, Also, a nice time to have Crystal Palace players. Everton have Sunderland, Fulham, Man United, Newcastle, and Bournemouth. If Everton were able to score, they would be doing so much better. But until they figure that out, I guess they need Grealish and DI to really do something. And those are the only players I would encourage you to have during this run of fixtures. Fulham have Wolves, Everton, Sunderland, Tottenham, and Man City. Fulham are not doing so well this season so far, in spite of being a decent team. But they have Wolves, which is not bad. Everton are beatable. Sunderland, who knows what will happen in that game. And Tottenham can be gotten at. Leeds have Brighton, Forest, Villa, Man City, and Chelsea. Leeds, I honestly can only see them winning the game against Forest in this round of fixtures. But they beat good teams so far, so they will be competitive. Liverpool have Villa, Man City, Forest, West Ham, Sunderland. So in theory, after the Man City game, things will get easier for them. But easier is relative. Remember Man City's form last season when they started losing? Anybody could have beaten them. And Liverpool are kind of looking that vulnerable. Their defense is trash. Anyway, Man City have Bournemouth, Liverpool, Newcastle, Leeds, and Fulham. Honestly, for Man City, if you only have Haaland, that might be the only thing you need. I don't think you need to get into more than that because of the roulette. And you just never know who will start, and you don't want to get just 1 point from Mamouche coming on the 85th minute. Anyway, Man United have Forest, Tottenham, Everton, Crystal Palace, and West Ham. Man United, who would have known? They're looking great. Maybe they can get 5 game weeks in a row, and then that guy can finally shave off his hair. So they're Forest, Tottenham, Everton, Crystal Palace, and West Ham. All winnable games. Right time to have Mbeumo and Cunha. Newcastle have West Ham, Brentford, Man City, Everton, and Tottenham. Honestly, outside West Ham, their fixtures are a bit of a mixed bag. Not easy, not difficult. I could see them winning, but I could also see them losing 3. Forest have Man United, Leeds, Liverpool, Brighton, and Wolves. We don't know what they are yet, and so I would encourage you to bet against them. Spurs have Chelsea, Man United, Arsenal, Fulham, and Newcastle. These are tricky fixtures. I would encourage you not to have Spurs players right now, given their inconsistencies. Sunderland have Everton, Arsenal, Fulham, Bournemouth, and Liverpool. Honestly, at this point, if you tell me Sunderland are going to win the next 5 games, I'll believe you. I'll believe you. They seem to be able to do anything they want. But I honestly don't think they'll beat Arsenal or Liverpool, but I believe they can beat Everton and Fulham and maybe grab a draw with Bournemouth. West Ham have Newcastle, Burnley, Bournemouth, Liverpool, and Man United. Bet against West Ham. Bet against them. Wolves have Fulham, Chelsea, Crystal Palace, Aston Villa, and Forest. Bet against Wolves as well. West Ham and Wolves, they're close to each other. Bet against them. And with that, I hope, like me, you are believing that the next week will bring you better things. I hope you all have a great week. See you next game week. Bye.